Okay, this class on Perashat Beha'alotekha, I actually wanted to make in honor of my wife's uncle, who's Victor Didier, who lost his brother, Gabby Didier, this past week, alav shalom. And it's in honor of him because the class, the most of the class is based on another class given many, many years ago by Rabbi, the famous Rabbi Soloveitchik on Perashat Beha'alotekha. And Victor, over 20 years ago, gave me a cassette tape recording, a tape with Rabbi Soloveitchik recorded and his comments on this parasha. It's just a fascinating, profound presentation. And I'm just going to scratch the surface of it, really just to use the introductory part of that class to get to one single point in this week's Perashat Beha'alotekha. So, honor of Uncle Victor for that. And it is a class that I'm very fond of as well. And hopefully I'll just extend it to a single focused point. So here we go. If you look at the order of events in the beginning of Perashat Beha'alotekha, after the discussion of the usage of the menorah, you see a string of events that seem to be disconnected from each other. It seems to each on their own in a vacuum have a function, but they seem disjointed. And the Torah, and we know this is obviously not true, but if on the surface, if the reader's not careful, it would seem like the Torah is going on and about with random topics. And let's just list them. After the menorah paragraph to start, Torah then has a longer paragraph speaking of the sanctification and the inauguration of the Levi'im so that they can officially serve the Mishkan and other functions. Topic 2 afterwards speaks of the giving the first official Korban Pesach offering post Yetziat Mitzrayim, and the first one in the desert, and followed by laws regarding Pesach Sheni for someone who was either impure tameh or distant from the Beit HaMikdash, which couldn't have been the case in the Mishkan in the desert, but in the future, and not able to make it. A month later, on the 14th of Iyad, would bring it. That's topic 2. Topic 3, speaking of the protocol of travel in the Midbar based on the movement of the Anan of the cloud. And there could be very short-lived sojourning and residing in a certain place, and much longer stays depending on, when the cloud begins to move. 4th topic, the hasoserot, the trumpets, and the communication system in the Mishkan, communicating for different purposes, for gathering of the entire kahal, the gathering of the leaders, for war, and for holidays. And then the 5th topic, an actual historical event, which is on the 2nd year after Yetziat Mitzrayim, on the 2nd month, on the 20th day, the Anan, the cloud, began to move. And speaking of the formation, as was spelled out to us in Parashat B'Midbar, we spoke about this, the flag, the banner system formation of the 12 tribes, and the way that they followed the cloud and moved in formation. And finally, the 6th topic in the string that I am tracking is Moshe's invitation to his father-in-law, Yitro, where he asks him he says, we're traveling now to the place that God promised to us. And he invites him. And he says, come with us because, Hashem's going to do good for us. He'll bestow good upon us. And you'll stand to benefit if you come with us because indirectly, by your connection and association with us, you'll also be bestowed upon goodness. Yitro says, no, thank you. Go back to my country. And then Moshe Rabbeinu seems to do what seems to be begging his father-in-law. It's one thing to politely ask your father-in-law to come with you, but It seems suicidal to beg your father-in-law to come with you, right? And Moshe is begging Yitro, don't leave us. You are our guide. You're our eyes, so to speak. You stand to benefit. Please come with us. And there was no record of what the aftermath of that conversation was. And then we have a 2 pasuk flanked by upside down nuns, nun hafuchot, which the Gemara addresses. And then afterwards, there are different events about the complainers and the desirers and how they were punished, and actual storyline that continues the rest of the parasha. Now, these 5 events that I listed again seem disjointed, and it's really hard to understand what the Torah wants. You have Leviim, you have Pesach, cloud, trumpets, then first travel and their mode based on the banner system, and then the invitation to Yitro. What is the connection between all of these? Rabbi Soloveitchik explains that the truth is they are a perfect sequence of information and events leading up to the ultimate final objective of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And that is, Kadosh Baruch Hu acquired us as a nation when he took us out of Egypt. And when he did so, there were 2 objectives to be met while still in the desert. Objective 1 was, of course, Matan Torah, to give us the Torah, the guide for life, and to equip us with being the nation of God on this earth. And objective 2 was building the Mishkan and being able to foster this close relationship by serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Mishkan. After objective 2 is complete, and this is the original plan, then we can march on to the final and third and final objective, which namely is going into Eretz Yisrael and what we can call the final redemption of the Jewish people. What happened, of course, is that things were stalled after objective 1 due to Het HaEgel. And it took us quite a while to be able to get back on our feet, to bounce back, to attain proper, to go through the process of repentance and attain the proper forgiveness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to revert everything to its original status, maybe better, and to build that Mishkan. And that was finally done in year 2. So that entire sequence of events from Het HaEgel to the Mishkan took quite a while. You know, it took approximately 10 months. And there we are in year number 2. And essentially, we are now ready. We are ready to engage in our third and final objective, and that is going to Eretz Yisrael. As Moshe Rabbeinu told us in the book of Devarim, that from Horeh, from Har Sinai, Ahad Asar Yom, it was no more than 11 days by foot, Derech Har Seir, albeit going through another territory, another country's territory, to Eretz Yisrael, 11-day trip. And okay, we have to tie up some loose ends. Let's do the final step in the process of being able to make the Mishkan functional. Namely, let's sanctify the tribe of Levi. Let's inaugurate them and get them ready for action so they can serve. Okay, that done, Mishkan system in place, ready to roll. We're ready to walk. And that was the first event. Second event, we're ready to walk. Guys, it happens to be that, you know, we are in the second year. We're in the first month. We're a few days away from Korban Pesach. 11 days walking is going to already take us beyond that date. All right. So let's give Korban Pesach. Give Korban Pesach, 14th of Nisan, first month of the second year. Some guys are impure. Hashem, what do we do now? And the advent of Pesach Sheni. Pesach Sheni is a month from now. All right, we got to wait. Certain people were tameh. We can't leave without them. Not going to abandon them in the desert. Let's wait. We wait another month. That's the 14th day of the second year, second month of the second year. And that's topic 2, Pesach / Korban Pesach. That's over. We're ready. We're really ready. We're really ready. So let's talk about the travel system. Travel system based on the Anan, one determining factor, cloud. Cloud moves, we move. Cloud remains dormant, we don't move, we're idle. And that's it. That's the travel system. Okay, we have to know how to travel, right? What about we're a large encampment, millions of people, we need a communication system when we travel. Hasoserot, topic 4, trumpet communication system when we need to meet, to convene, to be weary of our enemies. And that's the trumpets. That's topic number 4. All ready to go? Ready for topic 5. And that is travel. Finally, we're actually going to engage in the process of travel and meeting our final objective, second year, second month, 20th day. And they started to go and they moved as per instruction, Perashat B'Midbar, in the formation of the structure of the banner flag system, and 12 tribes, 3 in each direction with Levi and the Aaron in the middle. And they start to travel. And here they go. And as they're about to begin and start to move towards Eretz Yisrael, Moshe offers an invitation and says, what is this invitation? Well, it's an invitation to come with us. Tfadal. We're going to Israel. It's going to be wonderful. Says Rabbi Soloveitchik as follows. This travel, this march in which they were engaging is not just the third step in Hashem's three-pronged plan, Torah, Mishkan, Israel, and to complete that, to make God's plan complete. This, says Rabbi Soloveitchik, is nothing less than a messianic march, because the thousands of years that we've spent praying for Mashiach and redemption, we assume that it was meant to be in some far distant time, and our prophets speak about it that way. The only reason that they speak about it that way, and we've been praying so long, is because there was tragedy in the desert that impeded our progress. But in this initial travel, this was nothing less and absolutely a march to Israel and our final redemption. And we didn't need to think about and imagine and pray for the coming of a Mashiach because we had one. Melech HaMashiach was our leader, Moshe Rabbeinu. We had a Mashiach. We were headed to Israel. We were headed to a first and final redemption. And we were on and engaging in nothing less than a full-blown messianic march towards the times of Mashiach and full Geulah Shirima, redemption. That march is exactly what they were embarking upon on the 20th day of the second month of the second year from leaving Mitzrayim. And Moshe Rabbeinu saw fit to extend an invitation, not just to his father-in-law. Explains Rabbi Soloveitchik that Yitro, who was a national leader of Midian from where he came, and a very intelligent and talented person, and a person that saw the light and was very honest and a righteous person, represented the nations of the world. And this was an invitation through Yitro as a representative to all the nations of the world to join us on this messianic march. Nations of the world. Mashiach for the Jewish people, per se, but as we sometimes have the misconception, people believe that Mashiach is a time where there'll be Jewish people and an eradication of the rest of existence. And that's far from the truth. And let me take you to our screen, and let's begin to show why that's far from the truth. Just give us a moment, please. Here we are. So here's the invitation on top. It says, Beha'alotekha, the goyim in times of Mashiach. Here's our Pesukim on top. And Moshe told Hobab ben Reuel, Hamejani, who's Yitro, and here in the bold blue, Nosa'im anachnu. Nosa'im anachnu. Rabbi Soloveitchik would say that when he would read these two words, his eyes would well up in tears because of the absolute naivete and innocence with which Moshe Rabbeinu says these two words. Nosa'im anachnu, he tells his father-in-law Yitro. We're traveling. Il hamakom, asher amar Adonai oto aten lachem, the promised land. We're about to enter the first and final redemption to the promised land. It's it. It's the objective of existence. It's the times of Mashiach. Moshe said it with such purity, with such innocence, naive in a way. And how sad was that? Because he was so confident that he was going to lead Am Yisrael into a march of redemption to the promised land. And it never came to be because of the sin to follow in this parasha, which led eventually to the sin in the next parasha, namely Hatam Meragelim. And as the upside down nuns in the next piece after this was the great reversal, as Rabbi Soloveitchik calls it, because it was meant to be, did not happen. And so, Nosa'im anachnu, so innocently does Moshe Rabbeinu say, Charles, if you don't mind muting, Nosa'im anachnu. We're traveling. And he tells his father-in-law, Lecha etanu, please join us. V'hetabnu lach. It'll be great for you. Ki Adonai dibar tov al Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu promised us everything. And he says no in Pasuk Lamed. In Pasuk Lamed Aleph, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Al na ta'azov etanu. Don't leave us. Because I got to tell you, you're meant to be there. This invitation to Yitro and by extension to the rest of the inhabitants of earth, let's just call them the righteous of the nations, is to join Am Yisrael into this great journey into the future and into our state of redemption, our ultimate state, because they're meant to be there. And we can see that from certain prophecies from our Nevi'im, that indeed they're meant to be there. Because I bring you to Yeshaya, second chapter, famous chapter, speaking of Aharit Hayamim, the days of the future of redemption. And it says, I take you to the bold and blue, Naharu Elav Kol HaGoyim. In this time when it says the Bet HaMikdash will be situated on Har HaBayit, the Goyim, Naharu, as a river, will flow towards Yerushalayim. Let's go, says the many multitudes of peoples and cultures and nations. Let's flow towards and let's travel to the mountain of God. And we'll go in his ways. We are here to learn from Israel, whose objective is to be the light of the nations in the future time. Because Torah will enlighten the rest of the world from Jerusalem, and that's how the other nations will be able to recognize God. The real objective, the full-blown objective of creation. And as we read in the Haftarah of Sukkot and Zechariah, the next source, the leftovers, the remaining goyim in those future times could be times of tragic war. Every year, on the Regalim or Chag Sukkot, they go up to Jerusalem. And as the Rambam teaches us in the end of Halachot Melachim, that if this person builds the Bet HaMikdash and gathers the exiles, we know he's Mashiach, v'yetaken et ha'olam kulo la'avod et Adonai beyachad, and his great goal will be to position the world, to guide the world, the entire world, to together in unity as one, to worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Gentlemen, this potentially pivotal moment where Moshe Rabbeinu was inviting his father-in-law, by extension, all the nations of the world, to join him in that march, and Am Yisrael, in that great journey towards Melech HaMashiach, that moment, although tragically it was never realized, and it was not as pivotal as it could have been, but that moment shines in the annals of history as the moment of the picture, the lightning in a bottle that could have been of the future that will be, where not just Am Yisrael, but Am Yisrael as the guide and light to the rest of the nations will be joined by all of the inhabitants. We'll say the righteous and proper nations, although from the Rambam it seems even possibly some of the evil will be enlightened at that time and come and realize, accept upon themselves monotheism and the single primal creator, our God, the only God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu, in his innocent invitation to Yitro to join him and for the rest of the nations to join him, was also enlightening us that as we get closer to and embark upon our Geula Shirema and our times of Mashiach, that we will be what God expects us to be, the model for Umot HaOlam, for the Goyim, for the Gentiles, for all the inhabitants on earth, as to what it means to be servants of God, a nation of God, and Am Yisrael in their ultimate paradigm and following Torah and guiding the rest of the inhabitants of earth to follow, observe, and believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. That unbelievable moment that never came to be in Perashat Beha'alotekha is a moment that guides us and is our model for what's going to happen Be'ezrat Hashem soon to us in the future in our Geula Shirema B'mehera B'yameinu. Amen. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen va'amen.